welcome to the Southern Illinoisans Pigskin Picks. We're going to talk about Week 8. I'm Scott Meese, along with our sports editor, Les Winkler. It's like we all thought it would be. It's been a crazy year. Teams can finally start to win some conference championships. I think Marion can finish with the tied for the best record, but if Cahokia beats Althoff, they get the conference bid to the playoffs. I think Chester and El Dorado both undefeated. However, if Chester beats El Dorado, but then Fairfield, who's pretty darn good, beats Chester, then I guess we finish with all these with
tiebreakers.
Yeah, Ohio division looks like Heron's probably going to win that, and Carterville's good. I believe may have already won the Mississippi. I'm not sure, but just your thoughts going into the end of the season here.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure I've picked the South 7 game correctly all year long. It's just crazy the way that conference has played out. And as we talked just before the camera started rolling here, that Cahokia could make the playoffs with a losing record this year if things work out right and Carbondale beats Marion and Cahokia wins. Cahokia could get the nod because they won in the head-to-head competition. This game at El Dorado Friday night, I'm really looking forward to that. It may be the most. It may be the biggest game played in El Dorado in the last 35 years. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a big game. Really looking forward to it, and had the opportunity to see Carterville last week. They're the real deal. If you haven't seen Michael Ashman and Philip Frangillo run the football, you need to do that if you're a high school football fan, because those two guys are legit.
Let's start off with Marion at Carbondale. Carbondale started off 3-0, but like we've seen before, now here they are 4-3. I believe Carbondale, I've picked them every single week, and so I haven't been doing well lately. And I continue to pick them. Well, I'm going to go with Marion this week. Carbondale has had chances to win all of their South 7 games, and they just blew one to Centralia, lose to Althoff 48-44. Had a lead, I believe, at Mount Vernon at halftime and lost that one in a close game. So the Terriers are almost there, but not quite. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm just like you. I picked Carbondale in all three of those games, and they burned me 3 times, so I'm going with Marion. This is kind of I know Carbondale's had some issues with injuries and stuff, but they've let some games slip away, and Carbondale's still in a very good position to make the playoffs. If they could beat Marion this week, you have to figure that they're going to be good enough to beat Harrisburg in Week 9. So they're fighting for their playoff lives. I think it's going to be a very good game, but I just after getting beat by them 3 times in a row, I got to go with Marion.
Yeah, I'm going with Marion. And as far as Carbondale goes, they need to win out because 5-4 in the South 7 probably gets you somewhere in Springfield, and that usually turns out very badly for teams down here. So they really need to win out and finish 6-3. Let's move on to the Black Diamond, like you said, the biggest game of the year. I think we were talking about it in Week 2 already. Chester's undefeated 7-0 at El Dorado 7-0. Chester not all that big up front, but they're quick. They can score. El Dorado appears to be the real deal. They're normally really big up front, but they got a few skill guys that can, they don't have to just get 2 or 3 yards of play every time this year.
El Dorado's big up front. I haven't seen Chester play yet this year. I've seen El Dorado play a couple times. El Dorado is big up front, but their big guys are quick. Johnson City had some success early in running the ball against them, but once El Dorado had some things figured out up front, their big guys were just closing the holes very quickly. El Dorado seems like a plodding 3, 4, 5 yards at a time type of team, but Dylan Roberts broke an 80-yard touchdown run against Johnson City. Tyler Deaton is capable of, if he gets a block on the corner, he's gone. Nothing against Chester. I haven't seen him play, but I am impressed with El Dorado. And just going with that first-hand knowledge, I'm going to go with the Eagles.
I'm going to go with El Dorado, too. As far as Chester, a couple of their games against middle-of-the-road Black Diamond teams, they've been losing, I think, by double digits at times, which is disturbing because you expect the good teams in the Black Diamond to not have a problem with a lot of teams. But Chester still, they could definitely win this football game. They've got the athletes to do it, but I just think that's a long bus ride to El Dorado from Chester, and I think El Dorado, this is their year. I think they're going to go undefeated in the conference. The Ohio division, we got Benton is 4-3. Of course, their quarterback's been playing hurt or not playing. at Murphy 3-4. Once again, a curious year for Murphy. I mean, a lot of people, including people in Harrisburg, thought they would not beat Murphy last week, and they did. Your thoughts on this one?
Haven't seen Benton play. I have seen Murphy. I really like the Baird kid running the football. But that said, Benton seems to have a knack for winning these big games. And actually, Murphy is. They could possibly, if the stars aligned right, could probably still make the playoffs. But it's absolutely a must-win for Murfreesboro. But you can make the same case for Benton. Benton's just been a little bit more consistent, so I'll go with the Rangers.
I'm going to go with Benton, too. And Benton does have a pretty good Carlisle team. They're not in a good conference, but a good Carlisle team on the road in Week 9. I just think, especially if Bunton doesn't play, I definitely would pick Murphy, but I'm going to guess he probably will. I don't know anything, but I'm going to guess he probably will, so I'll go with Benton.
And that Carlisle team is 6-1, I believe, right now. So
yeah.
they've already clinched a playoff spot. So it won't be an easy game for them.
Then finally, the Mississippi, Carterville 7-0, Pinckneyville 4-3. Carterville needs a win here to sweep their conference schedule, but I believe it was 2 years ago Carterville had the conference championship and lost it at Pinckneyville. So that's about the only interesting thing I can say. Pinckneyville does have some pretty good athletes, and they can throw the ball quite a bit, but when I see them only scoring 3 against DuQuoin and struggling, and giving up, I don't know how bad they beat Nashville, something in the 40s to the 30s or something. That's not good either, but Carterville's not going to lose in the regular season, barring a major injury to one of their 2 best players.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Those 2 guys are just so quick against Sparta, and Sparta's having a tough year, but the Carterville offensive line just dominated up front. They gave Ashman and Frangillo some seams, and when they did, they just bolted straight down the middle of the field. And Sparta's got some decent speed, and they couldn't touch them, even when they had the angle on them. Frangillo and Ashman were running away. So I don't see Carterville losing in the regular season either.
And you see, Carterville's in the quarters last year, and Ashman goes out hurt when they're up by maybe 10 or 14 points.
Greenville.
Yeah, but you can see how when Ashman's not in there, it's the fact you don't know which of the 2 is going to take it, and you can't let Frangillo get a step on you. I mean, he's a horse, and Ashman just slithers his way through. He's difficult to tackle, and he's fairly quick too.
Well, and both of them are strong. They, there were some. Sparta had some good shots at them, at the line of scrimmage or within 3 or 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they just ran over people. They're pretty impressive.
Well, we'll finish it off with Harrisburg at Herrin. After a great year last year, Harrisburg's had some injuries this year, and Herrin is one-dimensional. They can only run it, but they run it really, really well with Milner and Merrill. What are your thoughts on Herrin and Harrisburg?
I don't see Harrisburg stopping the Herrin running attack. Like you said, Herrin's fairly one-dimensional, but boy, when you got a couple runners like that, they got Milner, the big strong kid inside, and Merrill is he just gets to the corner so quickly that it's just. And he's got some strength too. I just don't see Harrisburg having enough to stop him. Herrin will put points on the board.
Yeah, I think so. Herrin will finish sweep through the Ohio Conference and win that. All right, that's it for this week. Join us back here next week. We're going to talk about the final games of the regular season. Thanks for watching.